Nice.
We're feeding the ducks.
It's so smooth. Oh shit! I just got paid. Let's go.
Nice. It's a good day. Welcome to Metal Massacre, the only podcast that shits the bed and breaks the ribs. I'm Lucian, the weirdo with a beardo.
It's a deep
Over there, Dusty, the Tsar of Nar. You got to guess which one shit the bed and which one cracked their ribs.
Trick question.
It's probably pretty obvious for those of you that know us, but we're here regardless. It's been a long fucking week. We were supposed to do this yesterday, but I called Dustin. I texted Dustin. I said, "Dude, I can't do it. I'm hungover, and when I'm hungover, I get bitchy. Yeah, and I just like complain, and I'm an asshole. And then like I'll get some sugar in me and some coffee, and kind of just okay." You know, and like reassess things. And then I feel better. So I feel like I got the chance to do that. And now I'm like, okay, decompress from the whole entire week. Because it is a lot, you know. It's like we had a lot going on.
Well, dude, that's what we're here to talk about today. Is literally the past week it's felt like 2 weeks combined. Like honestly, I made like a little bit. I was like trying to make a post. And I was just trying to think about the show. And it was one of those times where it feels like it's been. I was like, oh fuck, that was only literally 6 days ago. That's why.
Well, even from like the first show, the previous show, I guess we played to this show, it's felt like a long ass time. But I don't know.
It has not been.
Has it been?
No.
When was the Witch's Brew show?
That was May 25th because I had the Tickerino.
Yeah, so that was like the week before, 2 weeks before, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, 2 weeks ago we did that. Yeah. It's not like, I mean, dude,
fun.
Anyways. We've got a lot to do today. We basically, we really want to just talk about, honestly, the past weeks. I saw some one-of-a-kind shit. We also got to hang out with some one-of-a-kind people.
Yeah.
And really, though, you know, it's odd that since the show's inception, we've done like 2 back-to-back, just kind of, for want of a better term, fuck-around episodes, where we're just you and me talking about some stuff and hanging out, which has been kind of nice because it's how... Ooh, just bumped my mic. Talking about how like we used to do everything was basically like come with a topic and fuck around, and now it's been so structured for a long time. It's one of those things I think that happens with a lot of people creatively, where it's just we say with the band all the time. When you drill every week, you get super tight. Yeah. But then every now and again, once you actually finally perform, then you take just like 2 weeks to not do anything, and you come back, then you do it somehow stronger. It feels like you aren't stepping over every little intricacy. You're not worried about every little thing.
I think that's just a symptom of like, I agree. Like it's like you're doing the reps. That's when you get the reps done, because then it's like, okay, now you're just going through the motions. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, and it's nice to kind of like sit back and do something for a minute, come back to it, and know that you did all the reps, so you should be able to perform like that, you know, like
1000%.
And we've kind of taken a little bit of time off lately. Like we've had a couple off weeks where we just haven't put anything out, and that's on me basically. But at the same time, we just have kind of had this like, let's have some more experiences, you know, and like you can only do interviews and album reviews for so long before you're like, I need to go out to a show.
Right. And actually be involved in a way that we have something we feel like we can offer, as opposed to just sitting on the sidelines the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is kind of like the symptom of like what we do. You know, we are commentators in the heavy metal sphere, but like at the same time, we're a part of that just as much as the people we talk about or the people that listen. And I feel like that's important to realize, even as a listener, like just because you're listening to us doesn't make us any more in it than you are. And just because we're interviewing fucking what's his bucket from the biggest metal band in Europe doesn't mean that he's any more in it than you are either, or me. Like we all form this big weird heavy metal, like I guess, community globally. Yeah. And I think it's cool, you know, because like there was a time where that didn't really exist for metal, and now it's like flourishing to the nth degree, you know. So it's nuts. But yeah, this last week was, you're right, we did have some pretty unforgettable moments, and I think I don't know. It's like I forgot him. You know, I was pretty drunk. Not gonna lie.
Some of the best times that you'll never remember.
Sandwiches, bro. What the fuck?
How'd you get your sandwiches?
I don't know. I think okay. So we went and got sandwiches. Every time we go, we should preface the night or the week by saying that honestly, it all happened at Reverb Lounge in Omaha, Nebraska, in Benson.
Can we go in reverse order? I think it was basically going to start with like there was nothing that went on yesterday, so Saturday, and then we go back until the week because I have some shit that happened. Like I said, like at the beginning of the week, crazy.
So recording day today is June 9th. June 7th on Saturday, we played a show with Green Jello, From This Day Forward, and Beyond Lobotomy at the Reverb Lounge. We played second. And it was pretty fun. I had a good time. We've played a couple different times with like 4 or 5 times with Green Jello.
Yeah, we did a little run with them last year.
And the year before
they were here, and so this will be the 3rd year in a row that like what's funny as fuck is we've never played the same venue with them twice.
No.
Even though like they're adjacent.
I like it. It's it's pretty cool. But yeah, that was Saturday night, and like we've done it before, so we kind of knew what to expect at this point going to a Green Jello show. You know, like you go to 4 or 5 of them, you're like, I know exactly what Bill's gonna do, and it's fun. And I think it's fun because he also has new people that cycle in and out, so you're kind of like meeting a different Green Jello every time you see the band, or like maybe every year, every 2 years. It's like there's some new faces that are there. Like they had a new drummer, Titties the Clown. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like
that's different.
That totally fits the vibe here. Yeah,
but it's completely on brand.
It's just like if you're not aware of Green Jelly, they're like this crazy carnival of punk and other genres like hip hop and stuff like that. They're tight with the Juggalo community. They're really like crazy ass people. Their singer Bill shows up 10 minutes before the set starts. He's not there ever until the set's about to start, and then he goes in and he's just like, their sound check is part of their set, and he just yells at the sound guy like, turn it up, sound guy, up.
Just as like far as you can go.
Like, and it's just like the mics are constantly squeaking, and then you got like, it's just insane.
It's the worst. Like, everyone's got the worst band in the world.
Imagine a packed venue and every single person has a pool noodle. We got plenty of footage of that on our TikTok and Patreon and even our Instagram. If you want to see this, go follow us in their Metal Massacre podcast. But everyone's got a pool noodle. There's too many pool noodles at one point, and they're throwing them at the bartenders, and I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm like picking up these noodles and like spearing them into the crowd. That was really fun.
It's always a blast to get to hang out with them. You know, like I said, people are pretty aware of them, and if not, explaining them really doesn't do it justice. Like I said, besides our socials, I mean, give them a follow, do all of that too. So I mean, like it's worth seeing. Seeing is believing with them. That's one of those things. But you know, it's definitely not come with lots and lots of shit throughout the years, and you know, bridges burned and people broken and things like that. I mean, like it just kind of comes with the territory when you're that wild. But it's always honestly, he's only been honest, very kind to me.
Oh yeah,
like every time I meet him.
Yeah,
and it's not like we needed to go in that direction, but I just wanted to say, I was like, it keeps going towards a theme that I bring up on the show all the time, is that like the persona is a persona, and like some people are really truly just themselves 24/7, but like almost everybody in the metal community that I've ever ran into, most of the time, such a sweet dude,
right?
Or like a nice person in general, and like it's never shocking, but it's just like, all right, I'm ready to keep checking that one off. Those guys were awesome. Those guys were awesome. Like I've only had like 1 or 2 shit experiences, and like they weren't chalked up to that's a bad person. It was just probably a bad day.
Yeah.
Like, and at the end of the day, like I just think it's always so interesting, especially even with like the like I said, the band that bills themselves as the shittiest band in the world, and the band that like damn near destroys arenas, like where people don't like booking the ICP shows. Why?
Yeah.
They're great people. It's just that they have to clean sticky soda off of fucking everything and $1 million equipment and like ruining chandeliers if it's a nice room that doesn't know any better. Kind of that's on you to know who you're booking.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, but like
booking Guar and then getting mad about it.
That's also who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. But dude, Saturday, this time in particular was pretty fun because that was one of like the more tight packed rooms that we've played some bigger shows. The skate bar out in St. Joe is probably the smallest one, but like the way that the Reverb is still designed, which is such a nice overall venue, like it's, even though its capacity is like a couple hundred, if it's shoulder to shoulder like it was, it still feels like an actual show and not just like a house gig or like a DIY venue or something.
It's like right on the verge of being, I don't want to say a venue, but like being that size of a venue. Like
it's a small room for what they attract,
but you can pack a shit ton of people in that room. And I like that, but I wish there was just like more place to put your gear. And that's often a thing we run into with a lot of venues. Is there's only like one or two that have like actual adequate for like five bands. You know what I'm saying? Like that's always the struggle when you're in a band, is like, where do I put my fucking gear?
And, you know, a lot of people do the digital thing nowadays.
Yeah,
too. I didn't interrupt you,
but that did help. No, you're cool. But like, they're very nice about like helping you. It's not that it's a shitty experience in any way. It's great. I love playing the Reverb, but you know, like that's one of the things you have to think about as a band, is like, what are we bringing in? I think one thing that you can tell is if someone hasn't played there before, they probably bring too much stuff. And like we now play half stacks there because it's like it's not worth bringing two
half
full stacks.
Modified kit. We basically know exactly where to line up microphones, but like we're lucky that's the home club. But I think that same experience, anytime I see a room that's like when it's you know it's very like, this is gonna be like this, so we should do this. Like it's very similar to just put those puzzle pieces together. But that's all to say again that Green Jello doesn't care. There's 130 fucking inflatables. There's a SpongeBob. There's
I wasn't saying in terms of Green Jello at all.
Not at all. But I just thought about what we were saying
in a regular fucking conversation.
It's not regular. I was just doing. Literally, we're explaining this while we just prefaced it with the exact fucking opposite of we don't care, bring it all.
It's fucking
but then they
great.
play like it doesn't matter. So
they had like fucking inflatable pizzas, inflatable dragons, inflatable fucking Christmas ornament decoration things, SpongeBob. They bring out these like huge fucking handmade puppets that are made out of like duct tape and shit, so they're just never gonna fall apart.
The audience is 1000% part of the show, even more than the regular band is half the time.
Oh yeah, it's a very good like crowd experience kind of a thing. Like definitely that is the backbone of Green Jelly, is like Bill's ability to do that. You know, he can like make a room do whatever he wants. You can be like, eat your fucking feet, and people will try.
They'll try.
They'll try. They may not do it. One guy will, and it'll shock everybody.
You're wrong, dude.
Yeah, it's always a good time with Green Jello. That was fun.
And we're summarizing it relatively quick as well, because like I said, this is like the 4th or 5th time we've brought him up on plenty of shows beforehand. But
go listen to our old shit, season 1.
Yeah, like for real. This is like it's a time capsule now at this point of thinking back to like the first time we did it down to now, and like it's pretty cool to be able to mark. Shit, here comes.
Oh shit, Dustin's gone. Come back, buddy.
I did. I don't know. It just blipped, literally blipped and reloaded.
Weird.
Anyways, but yeah, here comes June, and here comes the time to hang out with Bill and all these fucking goofballs. But which ones of them this time?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's always a really fun time, and very grateful to get to play with them. We always sell a decent amount of merch, like because their people that are coming there in such a good mood. Everybody leaves there either like very confused, upset, and scared, but they leave early, or they leave in a really good mood, and people are willing to just like shell out some money and have a good time and like talk with everybody, and that's always really cool, man. So, who knows what we'll end up with them next? But I guarantee it's probably not the end. So like, but yeah, it was Saturday, dude. Like, so I mean. Fuck, this whole thing that I wanted to do at the show today was, like I said, let's move backwards in time, because Friday was also somewhat of a recovery day because it didn't do too much crazy on Friday. I actually had a good day just spending some time playing some games.
Wait, are we already done talking about Saturday?
We can be.
No, there was so much that happened.
What did you do?
I feel like, well, there were other bands that played, you know. Like, go through the night, you know. Like from this day forward, they did really well. They had a huge following there, which is cool to see for a younger set of guys. You know what I mean? Like that's always really cool. Now it's like, what are they gonna do with that as they get older? That's kind of the thing I think I'm wondering. But yeah, you know, it's cool to see an Omaha band get a tour with Green Jelly. So I was really happy to see that. But Beyond Lobotomy was really cool too. Really nice guys.
Yeah, always are. They're really nice. Coming together in a way that I can tell that like they're getting every time that they play, it's better than I saw them the last time.
Yeah,
I only mean that positively, because I've seen them. We've played with them twice, and I think I've seen them this would be like the third time, including those two. But each one of those times at also different venues each time, it's been something that it's okay. We've seen him in a dive bar, and I've seen him like on a big stage, and I've seen him at the Reverb, which is like a good club. And like
they're getting a good mix of shows. That's good.
Every time I've seen him, like that also could entirely depend on the sound person, especially when you are digital. But they did have some amps on stage. They played live amps this time as well, which I'm always going to be a fan of. We've been over there on the show. We're old school. We have wedges. None of us got, the drummer's got in-ears, and he's got a couple of like sounds that he's got run into some stuff like that, because all drummers do mostly at this point. But the rest of us, like I said, no in-ears, old school, improvise, use timing, play with the crowd, wait and direct. Like I said, I appreciate when people can do it, and they can do it well with either way, because there's plenty of bands that like, the experience really wouldn't be the same if it wasn't really directed in a way that still allows, like, you can freestyle within that, but you have rigidity to your set. You know exactly how long it is. And so then the beats and the story notes, if you're trying to craft a story or an experience, or, here comes this song, and you have like the band has a video wall or some shit.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, like the one band that I have of the Skies is completely different than this band, even though they're both metal. And the difference really just is in how we purvey ourselves. Like, what do
I don't know if I would call Of the Skies metal.
We build ourselves as like alternative metal and modern hard rock, and like fucking Kevin put it up there. It was like modern metal and like progressive hard rock or something like that.
Whatever, like Breaking Benjamin,
3 Days Grace, maybe.
Kind of, yeah, a little bit like older. No, more newer, I guess. 3 Days Grace, and then what's the fucking? Oh, I'm never gonna remember the name. There's any band you would find on the Underworld soundtrack.
Sure. Oh yeah, there's a lot of new metal there too.
New metal, but then the lighter stuff, it's like, is it still new metal? You know what I mean? Like more ballad-esque. Like,
I would say
I don't know what you would call that genre.
Just wait, because we only have the one song that's out there, and this band used to be called Before We Die, and all of this is way heavier than that.
Okay,
like the song that we're writing now, all of us are sitting there. I was like, this sounds like Doom almost.
Oh, really?
Like the soundtrack to Doom. Lots of electronics and like click beats and 808s in between, just blast riffs that go quick. Like, just wait. We've only put out one single. You'll see. But like, I guess where I was going was the production. How you produce yourself on a stage is pretty wild. And like, so with the guys and From This Day Forward, like they still had amps and stuff on the stage for some of their work, but like their drummers, he just got sponsored as well. And like, but they all run in-ears, they run clicks, they have tracks, they have things going on that like craft that experience. And I really think that as someone now that I have the unique experience that I have like two bands that are so like in the same vein, but very different, is that we don't like, in the one that uses tracks, it's there because we play a lot of the venues, like we just said, they're a reverb size. We don't need, or want a key player, because they'll be adding another person to the band. But we do have two guitar players that have wildly different styles. A drummer who hits hard as fuck. Kevin hits those drums hard as anybody I know that does. And that's what also provides that metal punch, because I have my full Mesa rig. They're running full half stacks. Our singer's a big boy with a loud voice. Like, so I mean, like, it's something that the tracks for us there, we don't have anything layered in that's not just, hey, this is what's on the album, because it was layered vocals and I'm screaming, he's singing, we need the harmony, so let's put the we'll just put the in the fucking track. Like, so what? And then on top of that, there's no guitars, there's barely any drums, there's barely any synth bass at all. They're just there for root notes when I'm already playing. Like, and I think that, and it sounds like I'm trying to justify shit at this point, but I have never been someone that was of the mind that tracks are bullshit, or that I hate that people use them. I just think that when it's becomes if you're starting a track and like every instrument that's being played on stage is in there, I don't like that. I really don't.
Yeah, I think I'm really not a big fan of, we don't have this person to play this instrument, let's just track it. It's like, well, then finish your fucking band and play shows. I'm sorry, that might be harsh, but like,
Yeah.
That just I don't like doing that, because you could have just given someone a gig. You know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't know. It's just weird. But I also don't like when you rely on tracks too heavily. Like, if you use them to accent what is going on and kind of set a tone, which you guys do, then I appreciate it. It's a part of the artistry, right?
I think
It's part of
most
the
successful
experience.
bands do that at this level nowadays. Like when I went and watched last year, like August Burns Red and The Devil Wears Prada, it was very obvious that there were a lot of things that were tracked in it, but it was also even more obvious that it is just something that is highlighting, so you get an album experience sound out of what's being, like Judas Priest has like 17 guitar layers in each one of their songs, but the tone that comes out of the actual playing is so massive. A, they don't need it, and B, a lot of those old school bands, people know it or don't, there's usually someone sitting behind the amps playing the rhythm tracks. It's just, that's how they did shit before there was tracking,
right?
But that's still someone that's like, well, we hired Jim Joe, the really solid session musician that just looks like someone's grandpa, to go play back with, Exodus on tour, because he can play these so it sounds like the album, so we don't have 9 guitars or a bunch of obviously track shit in there, but he's not going to look all sexy like the rest of the rock stars on the stage are. That's an old trick that like bands have been doing forever and a half. And so when I that was the first time, that was the thing for me that was like, yeah, you know what? And like, instead of being a curmudgeon about people using tracks, I think that it's better to just look at it as like, this is the newest way and the most modern way to do the thing that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But it can't be the whole experience, because otherwise it's not much different than, I enjoy house music, but it's like, that person is just like, let me layer a whole bunch of like predetermined tones to a track together. And if they're a really good one, they're honestly good DJs, they exist, but that's a whole nother discussion for another day, because there's scratch turntable DJs, there's hip-hop DJs, there's people that know how to run a party DJs, there's people that literally just go up there and hit a button and fuck off and do like the EDM lights.
Right.
A good one is a good one, but I think that when you're talking about mechanical music making in this way, it's something that's obviously a hot button topic, and not where I just anticipated going with this, but like, I do think that like it can be done well, but I don't want to hear half your guitar solo coming out of the PA when someone's not doing it.
Now, how do you feel about vocals in any capacity being tracked?
Too much is too much, but too little is just like, it'd be better if everybody just did it raw. Honestly, it would. So like what we have, and just to peel the curtain all the way back, I don't mind. Like what we have with the band for us, like I said, is like both Chris, myself, and Jake have a microphone in front of us. And so he's usually going to do whatever is Chris's voice and his sound. He's carrying the melodies, he's doing the screaming. But then usually I'm doing low screaming if that's in the song. I'm going to cover that because we do a lot of harmonies. And then just like we do with Molten kind of as well. But then with Jake, if there's something that in the actual song is obviously like, whether it was layered by the producer, it was an artistic choice, or it was taken over like 3 or 4 times to give like a big full sound that sounds crazy, at the very least, me and Jake are going to step up to the mic and go, or something. But if it's not enough, like if he's going high, he's going low, and he's screaming, but there's still like where's that? Okay, we'll track it.
Man, I wish we could get Jake to do some kind of vocals for us.
We probably could if we pushed. He wants to.
I really want him to, like, because there's a lot of stuff that I've written that would sound great with you doing what you're doing, me doing what I'm doing. But yeah, someone just shouting. Yeah. Bro, you just fucking do a bark. You know what I mean? That would sound great with what we're doing. Like, bark the words that we're fucking screaming and singing, you know what I mean, and yelling. But yeah, I think that'd be a really cool touch, because that Helheim part I wrote for the chorus, in my head it's always been like a gang vocal. You know, like a Day to Remember would do a gang vocal, like on certain words or whatever, where everyone's like, no, 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 no.
And like, those would be things that I wouldn't mind if they're tracked, and it's obvious like everyone's singing, but this is making the experience bigger, and like things like that. Like if there's words coming straight out of the thing and it's like part of the main melody, and there's just one guy not doing half of them, it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks. So like you said earlier, I'm sorry. If I guess the best way to put this is it's a very finite line because everybody's doing it and it doesn't make it right, but like every big band you like for the most part is doing it, especially
right.
like modern
to a certain
metalcore.
degree. Yeah,
Not the old school fucks, but again, they're doing the old school tricks probably.
right.
B, if it is like again, a lot of ours is like it's 808s and like
bass drops and
trap beats and bass drops and stuff that like are in between while our drummer's keeping a full like kit beat. There's also like just like stuff like that just being added in or like clap sounds, like just basically anything you'd find in a trap beat kit, 808s, all that kind of stuff. But like those get added in just because again, our drummer's already playing a fuckload, so just like add a couple extra rhythms in there.
Yeah,
like we don't have to have a key player doing it because that would honestly that would just crowd the stage more, and we have an aesthetic that we've built. And like you said, I know what you were saying is like give somebody a job then, and like I totally agree.
Yeah, but
like
I don't know, like that's a good excuse as well. Not I wasn't arguing to what you were saying.
Not at all. But I also would like to see more bands. Like we just don't have a bass player, but the bass is a huge part of it because we write the songs around it.
Yeah,
like well then get a fucking bass player because like this could be a much better experience watching a guy play it as opposed to like, well, this is obviously someone played the studio bass and was fucking rocking it. And whether the producer still threw it into the MIDI, because there are so many MIDI programs, like, or not, someone could be doing it. But if you don't want it,
I think you know who does like that shit really well is Dropout Kings. I think they do.
Yeah. Rest in peace to the fella. I don't remember his name, but the lead singer just died actually.
Oh, did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, Dropout Kings were really great, and I was never like the hugest fan of them, but like I had like 10 of their songs on my playlist.
The rapper or the singer?
The main guy. Yeah, I feel disrespectful not knowing his name off the top, but Adam Ramey dead by apparent unaliving.
Wow,
at 31.
That's terrible, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like you meant to bring that up, but
no, I didn't. I honestly didn't even know. I just thought like a couple of their songs had some like hip hop beats before they would get like really slammy. You know what I mean? And like I just thought of that as we were talking about. That's crazy. Well, yeah, rest in peace. That's crazy. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
wow.
Everybody said some nice stuff about him too, especially like because Strawstone locally here and like a couple other people that had seen them, but like they brought them here and they had worked with them a couple of times at like the same club we were just talking about at the Reverb and at the waiting room and like spots that we've been, and like everybody would like, hey, it just had something to say, and everybody that said something was like, these guys were fucking down to earth, nice dudes, like to party, like to hang out, were nothing but genuine to everybody they met. So like, hey, that's the legacy you want to leave behind, and who never knows what's bothering people, and if something's bothering you, reach out to friends, man.
Yeah.
We've all lost people. I've lost some friends to the same kind of habits a couple of times. We'll put it that way. But not to put a damper on, but I just felt it was appropriate to be like, hey, man, like, world's crazy, but they did a really good job to get back on topic and also to move on a little bit. Like, I think that, the people that do electronics really well, like, I mean, fuck, what is rap? Rap is start an iPad and then like have his DJ like chop it up, but then someone's rapping the vocals. And there's also, what's funny? This same debate, like I see it all the time. I'm like, bands have been doing this for years. Welcome to the party. Because like I'll see rappers will be like, other motherfuckers that are rapping over vocals are pussies. And I'm like, they're starting to figure out that bands use tracks. It's the same thing. Like, funny. Like, oh no. Hey, welcome to the party. Everybody is having that discussion over here too. Right. But I think at the end of the day, does it add to it or are you relying on
exactly it? That's the difference. It's like I want something that's just adding spice into my experience.
Give me the closest to album quality, big in your face. Oh my god, this is insane. As you could possibly get.
Exactly. But to get kind of back on track from the week, like that was really fun. The show I feel like we played a really good set. People were having fun.
Y'all know enough about us.
I think I met our youngest fans ever, which was crazy.
Oh, they were like 7?
Yeah, dude. A couple of people's kids were like, "You guys are fucking awesome." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
you shouldn't say that. And why are you here? But thank you.
2 dudes had me sign a bunch of tickets. They were like, "Can you sign these tickets for us?" I was like, "Sure."
Oh, yeah. So it feels good, doesn't it?
Never. I think I've only done that when Mike has had people come up to us and like, hey, can you sign the album or whatever? You know, never had someone come up to me and be like, sign my ticket.
It's pretty cool too, especially when you like, you know, like I think the time that we all did, really remember, and I was with Exodus as well, because when we got to open for Exodus, there were so many people that are all like, I want everything to do, like this was a monumental night for me. I got to see Gary Holt and Exodus, and you guys were part of it. Sign this.
Yeah, I guess that's a good thing. Like a good like weird thing that happens with playing shows is like sometimes like I get kind of jaded to shows, right? And I'm like, it's a show. Like it's really cool that we're playing in this band, but I don't have any expectations.
I have a job to do,
and I'm doing like a job, and so you kind of like turn that off for a little bit, and like I don't know, it's been a while since I've been like truly star-studded, you know what I mean? And like I'm still really impressed by everyone we play with, but it's more like seeing them play and like appreciating what they do is how I'm like impressed. I'm not like maybe I'm not familiar with everybody we play with right off the bat, or like super into what they're doing at first, but like once I see people live, I am a lifelong fan of their music because it's a different experience. But I feel like being the guy that plays the show, you kind of like don't realize that, you know what I mean? Because so then people will come up and be like, hey, can I like buy you drinks or something? Or like,
why?
I'm just like, what? I'm just a fucking dude that lives in a neighborhood across from yours. Okay. Like, no, but I guess that's part of the whole like show thing, you know, like concerts and like Comic-Cons, any of these big kind of like events with lots of people that are loud and like sensory kind of overwhelming. Like it's a whole, it's kind of like going to the theater in the old days. You know what I mean? Like, and I forget that a lot.
And I think that's normal. I think that's human, man. Like, cause that means you're locked in and you're trying to do what you're supposed to do, is like I said, your job, stay in control, don't freak out, don't be a weirdo, but like just as much as you want to.
I think I got over the whole like being nervous thing 2 shows in once I came back to playing music. Yeah. Because we played very small shows when we started this revival like 3 years ago almost. And I just kind of like was like, okay, I'm a little nervous because there's some people here I don't know and I haven't done this for a while. The more we've done this, I haven't been nervous on stage ever again.
No, I really don't.
I'm more just like, what am I going to do this time to set us apart? You know what I mean? Or try to at least.
And like, again, for better or worse, that I think that's also probably why you're like, hey, and sometimes I don't even really realize how big of a deal some of what I'm doing is until I look at it. For me, it always clicks when I see the people at like the line for VIP or the line to like the merch line, or there's a big line outside in a line, seeing a line of people. I go, I only do that for very specific things myself. Right. And these people are all, this is that important to them that like, they're not here, not for me necessarily. They might know me, they might like me, but it's probably here because of fucking Psycho Stick, like the line around the block. They're probably here for Green Jello line around the block. Honestly, even during a beer fest, they still found a way to line up in a spot they weren't allowed to. Like, I mean, like it's when you see the people that are like, they're just holding on to their like picture or something they want signed and they're waiting in line. Like that every time I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is cool. Like, this is very important. This is something that not only is it special to me to do with like my friends and getting all sentimental, and it's with my dad and like, no. Like go out there and have a good time and be you. So you put on the best show you can and don't overthink it. But just remember, man, like this shit is like some of these bands that we're playing with are some people's everything. Like it's their favorite fucking band, and it's what gets them absolutely stoked to shit. Right. And there's other shows that are some of my favorite ones I've ever played that are all just local homie showcases where we have some of the best times smoking in the green room and just like running around like we own the place and like going outside.
Goofballs.
Just like you're 17 again and like everything's like, oh, I gotta go say hi to this person, or I gotta like that's I guess you barely get that anymore, man.
The shows I go to are never like the ones where I don't know, like maybe I just feel different about shows now, but like, it really has to be bands that I'm super into. But like there's only been a couple shows I've gone to that are like the bands are big, but I actually met them and I didn't have to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like Necrogoblicon, when we saw them on our honeymoon, they were just like outside smoking cigarettes. Right. You're like, hey, what's up? You guys are fucking badass. We took pictures, and that's how we met Raptor. But
that's really cool, man.
You rarely find things like that anymore, where bands will just be like outside, like hanging out with people. It's usually like you see them like run in the side door while you're in line because they have McDonald's and they're trying to get back to the green room really quickly. And then you never see him again. Right? And you're like, oh man, I just want to like shake his hand and like tell me rules, you know? Like,
or they're big enough that the tour manager's running back in with the McDonald's and they're not leaving the green room, and then the VIP. But also, you can't blame some of them because like the people that are paying $200 to do a VIP meet and greet or whatever, and then there's just outside having a sandwich. Be like, what the fuck am I paying for?
Right.
But like, I mean, like everything's at a certain level of nuance, but like I can see where you're going. Somewhere without that was the other thing that we did this week together, both you and I, which was also with my dad, because his band Cordial Spew got to open up for Mike V and the Rats.
Yeah,
which was fucking sick. So we'll go into details, but like long and short, I think a lot of people know who that is. A, it was like he just filled in as the singer for Black Flag for a while. B, he's had this band for a long time with a bunch of big singles. But C, and honestly, most importantly, if you have no idea who he is he's a pro skater for Powell Peralta and Element all the way back since I think 1991. He went pro. He's been skating since the early 80s. He's iconic. He's in all the Tony Hawk games, but he's a dude that you can catch out front of the venue, leaning against the van while a couple guys smoke cigarettes. Like you can just catch him being a normal motherfucker. And like, that's exactly what we got to do on Thursday, which I've seen them before. And, but this is like the first time and actually Aaron, our drummer, is open for him down at Skate Bar, one of his other bands. But he, I only say one, I'd plug his other bands, but there's like 6 of them because every drummer's got to be
probably the Dive Kings.
I want to say it's the Dive Kings because every drummer is a commodity where they have like 3 or 4 bands, and that's not by choice; it's by default.
Yeah.
But but it was the first time I got to like just see him and talk to him for a minute. And again, real down to earth dude, because he used to be known as a hothead, which Lucian knows for sure. Like, but
oh yeah, this guy was known for this back in the day. Like he had a video of him kicking a bunch of drunk jocks' asses while he was filming a skate video.
You're getting some unwanted visitors outside.
There's a tow truck, and I'm like, why is there a tow truck? Who's getting towed?
You didn't pay your repo bill.
I don't have a repo bill.
You knew of. That's why you have one, because you didn't pay it.
I never knew.
I called them. I'm sick of your shit.
You evil son of a bitch.
No. I wouldn't do that, bro. But no, for real. Would I? But I was really excited to be able to just like actually sit down, because he was wanting and post on his social media. He's like, I'll be hanging out in front of each one of these venues. Just literally come say what up to me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So like we showed up early and he opened the door for me and he was like, oh, hey man, welcome to the show. And I was like, what? Hey. And then I was like, I don't know if you remember, but you did a fucking like Mike V versus your skate park tour here in Omaha, and I was there, and it was really cool. You did a really good flamingo, and he was like, "Oh, thanks, man!" Like being really nice, and I was just kind of like, "This is not the Mike V I grew up on," but it was. I was probably more grateful that it wasn't the Mike V I grew up on. You got to talk to him a lot. And then like I was standing behind, and you guys were like, "Oh yeah, we're in Moulton," and oh yeah, that's our singer, because my wife's like shoving me.
Don't
and
talk
I'm like,
to him.
Hey. And he's like, and Mike goes, I've known him since he was a kid. And then Mike V goes, yeah, apparently I have too. I remember him going, he's your singer? Well, you guys are in fucking trouble. And I was like, oh,
it's true.
He's razzing me. I love it.
Yeah, dude, sweet guy. I mean, like he honestly he shook my hand, and I saw like that there's sort of like a kindness to him, obviously, in his eye now, that like, because he lives out in Des Moines, if people didn't know, which is, I know it's been something he's been pretty public about as well, but not everybody follows everybody. Like I said, after I think that was part of the reason he left doing the stuff for Black Flag, is that he was just, he was slowing down his skating and, was, wanting to settle down. I know he rides still. It's technically sponsored by Kariyama Shoes, and like, still skates, and is really big in Des Moines at like helping, like a lot of like Tony Hawk does, where he's trying to produce skate parks and like areas for kids to skate that aren't just made by some city designer or a bunch of BMXers or something like that, that like, hey, here's your part, go there, otherwise you're getting in trouble. Because like street skating is integral to the culture of skating, and it's, it's always been break the law and like hop a fence, not give a fuck, film all of it too, and put it out and tell them, come get me if you can. Like, it's badass, it's counterculture, that's the whole fucking thing. Nowadays it's a lot more popular, but I still see all the big companies. I mean, that'll never die. That culture of skating will never die. But like, I think that it's something that a lot of these older guys are like, well, I wish I would have been able to get my chops practicing and get better sooner, just from a skill perspective, if I had a place to do it. Because even like Tony always has, because he was in California, but he was so into it at the beginning that it was jumping. My dad would tell you the same story, jumping people's fences, because everybody had concrete pools back in the day. And when like the winter, even though like most people could leave him in all day long, when you left, it would get gross. And so you just want to drain the water. And that's why pool skating got so big in the 70s and 80s, because they didn't have the modern crazy filters and like rich guy money pools like we had nowadays. Just back in the day, everybody had a pool in their backyard because it's hot as fucking California, but you can't leave it there all the time. So you drain it and skate it. Like, but that's obviously not ideal, or hopping someone's backyard and trespassing and getting kicked out or shot. Like, but that was part of what you had to do if you wanted to be shred the fucking nar.
Shred the nar.
I think that I think that a lot of like people like Tony and Mike V especially are like really involved with being like, well, let's find something that's designed by skaters and is a safe place for these kids to do this. And then like, or even adults, just here's a place to go because you're 38 and you don't want to break the law and jump fences anymore. Or you're 7 and you want to go with your friends, or you're in middle school.
I think that like,
and it's actually skatable.
Yeah. That part of skate culture it's more just adolescence.
Yeah.
Like it's the angst that every tribe of teen, be it the nerds, the jocks, the anime kids, the whatever, that's how certain kids just express it when they're the skaters, you know what I mean? And like, that's their rebellion. And like, I think that there's a lot of like glory in that when you're a kid, you like brag about I did the 15 stair down there and all that.
Yeah.
I got a footage of it and all that. I remember growing up and filming so many of my friends do a church gap like over and over and over, just because they wanted to get like the right angles and shit and make a really cool video.
Yep.
And like, I don't know, there's something about that that's like it's like very dangerous, and it's a very sexy thing when you're a kid. You're like, oh, I'm an athlete kind of, and like you're like bragging to girls about it and shit like that. But then you kind of get older and you're like, life happens, and you might skate still. And even if you do skate still, you're getting older, it's like life is happening. And as you get older, you kind of like get more out of that whole like fight the power shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, some people don't, some people do, but I feel like on the average, as you get older, you're kind of like less, okay, well, I do have to go to work and pay these bills. And like, I would eventually like to buy a house in the market. I'm a millennial wishing for the dream.
Less bar fights.
Right.
Things like that.
I can't afford to like fight the power anymore. I got shit to lose, but like, 100%. I remember being young and like sneaking into pools at night with friends and stuff like that. Like not even skating, just swimming. But like those were my skater friends I would do that with. And like, there was always like, oh, we got to run out of here because the security people are coming. Or, oh, we can't skate here. They call the cops. And I remember running around Millard as a kid with like a bunch of kids and skating. It was a good time. It was all the Russell Middle School kids that went to Millard West that were all skaters. Like I think Greg Fountain was one of them.
Yeah, dude.
Patrick McCreary, rest in peace. He was a really good skater back in the day. Still was, like up until we lost him. But a lot of cool skater kids I remember hanging out with in Omaha that like still probably do skate. I bet Taylor probably still skates every once in a while.
Yeah, every time he comes by, he rides his board over to my place. And like I've been getting a little chunky lately because I've been fucking powerlifting basically. So I was like, dude,
I don't know if I can do it like I can.
So I want to be honest with y'all. I mean, like when I was skating, I was like 155 to like 170, and homies.
Yeah, you like ate one meal a day and drank Gatorade all the time. Now you're a fucking person.
Fucking meathead, dude. But let's just say I shouldn't be riding a skateboard. It'll be visibly bending. But like, we're just there. So like. But I do, I mean, like, fuck every now and again, because I got a big old, like, 9.0 Beer City board is what it's called. And, like, that cool company, just smaller company, got, like, the Swamp Thing monster on it. But, like, if I'm going to go pick up papers from the local shop down the road, for any excuse to ride down the bike lane, I'll grab the board and go fucking cruise for a little bit. Like, I'll still bust out a kickflip to make sure I can do it. I can still drop in on a ramp, but that's like cool.
I want to get a longboard. I haven't longboarded in a long time.
Get back into longboarding.
That was always fun.
But you gotta be weary of going like 70 miles an hour now because fuck, those things pick up quick, dude. So you gotta remember how to power slide or something. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, Mike V was the fucking man. Like the band sounded great. Again, to plug the socials and all that stuff that again been below us here, but on our just Instagram and stuff. If you want to see what they sound like nowadays, we threw a few of those up on there. But they have plenty of also videos. I think that they've been doing a pretty good job with their team of just like posting stuff here and there. But again, it's obviously something of like a hobby to him at this point. He can still make money. He still is doing what he loves, but he's just enjoying doing it. So it's like, it isn't going to be something that's pushing the hardest on all the socials. He's living with his friends and family on a farm, like doing his fucking thing out in Des Moines, like brewing beer. And I think he was working or helping with a brewery. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn. I have no idea if he's doing that exactly. Cause some people are, he
was at some point. I don't know if he still is though.
Yeah. But dude, Mike V was the fucking man. Like he was really, I told him a story of how like he was the first pro board that I had gotten my grandparents to buy me as like a gift basically. And we went on a vacation before my grandpa was getting sick and he was getting old. He knew, he was like, let's go on one more vacation. I'm getting an RV. We're going across the country. I'm taking you kids for like 2.5 weeks. Just get in. It's on me. We'll get away, get you away from your parents. I only got so much longer. Let's go. And we're like, let's fucking go. So we went all the way up to like South Dakota, all the way over through Montana into Washington, down to San Francisco, through Oregon, and then like back through Vegas and Texas. Like,
damn, really? That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, like by the end of it, it's like 2.5 weeks with your grandparents, but like he's always so down to earth and it was such a good guy that like it was easy to deal with. And me and my brothers played basketball like every day, wherever campsite we spot at. And, like we didn't really want much. We just made burgers every night and just hung out. Like, so it's awesome being like a middle schooler and just being able to hang out. We ended up staying in Colorado for a little bit, but like, lots of driving. Regardless, though, we get to San Francisco. There's a place called Skates on Haight, and it's in Haight and Ashbury Street. But that was like, this was the peak of me really getting into skating. It's like the honeymoon phase where it's all I thought about, all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like, I ended up still being, and I mean, I still listen to the Bunt. Shout out the Bunt. I still listen to the 9 Club. I like the Bunt a little bit more. They know they're the #1 podcast in skateboarding, but like I'm still involved with the culture. I still watch skate videos about every week. There's an awesome app called The Den that's free. You can watch skate videos. They're curated like directly every week by what's hot. Don't have to pay a subscription. It's just a labor of love. Like I'm still within it by a lot, but back when it was super important to me, Mike V was like the fucking man. He was, I loved old school skating. For some reason, it always gravitated to me. I learned how to like boneless before I could ollie. Like I learned all this other stuff that like, once I found him and he was in Tony Hawk, I was like, well, that's what I want to do. That's what I would do if I was a pro skater. So like, I learned all the stuff that you have to know. You have to know how to like kick flip and board slide and blah, 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 and drop in. But like, I really just wanted to do old school, crazy ass, beat something down, hit some big gaps. And that's exactly what Mike V did almost his whole fucking career. And like, it spoke a lot to me. So when I was in middle school and super impressionable, that was like his heyday of being on Element and his first big pro model Element board, the same ones that all had. There was like BAM with like the big,
the big letters,
and the big heartogram on his in specific. But then like Mike V had Mike V, and then like Chad Tim, and like all of them just had the same board. I grabbed the Mike V one, and that was like the first big pro board that I'd ever gotten. And like, so I told that to Mike when we were outside of the venue, and then I was like, and dude, and the same thing I was telling you guys, I was like, I picked him on Tony Hawk, and like, I don't want to glaze you too much, but like literally you're out here just letting me yap your ear off. Let me tell you, man, like as someone who was never even really that good, but did good enough to, like hang with the people that were sponsored at the shop and like ride with them and consider myself a skater. You did everything to shape who I was in that direction. And he was like, all I could really do is just kind of look at me and then he shook my hand. He's like, dude, that's huge. Like that's monumental to me, man. And that means like a lot. Like, I don't think I necessarily left him speechless, but like just about.
Yeah.
Because
that's really cool.
Yeah, he was such a down to earth dude, man. But yeah, fucking all the bands killed it. All the bands killed it. We had some friends from Lincoln called $1 Million Veins. They're older dudes.
They're really good.
They rip it up, man. And just by that name, you know exactly what it's gonna sound like. It's punk inspired hard rock, just in your fucking face, sick riffs, lots of attitude, just good time. They were awesome. The Cordial Spew got to play. Like I said, they've been around since the 80s. It's my dad's punk band of a bunch of 60-year-olds, but like they're having a fucking great time. Bunch of like they're all dressed in like their camouflage cargo shorts and like tall tees and shit like that, just old school style. But and then like Mike V, and it was all a really good time. There's another opening band that wasn't local either, and I wish I knew their name. I could pull up the flyer, but we're just reminiscing. But every band there killed it. And
that was a fun night.
Yeah, so like fuck again, we're working backwards. So like we played with Green Jello, we got to see Mike V, we got to like 2 days at the Reverb, hung out with Lucas, who's been on this show before from Black Heart Booking. He booked both of those shows, so we got to bother him a whole bunch, trying to drag his ass back out here one of these days to explain himself. He knows what he means.
He's like, I go, hey, we got to get you back on the show. And he's like, yeah, I kind of slowed down in the fall. And I kind of took it like, yeah, okay, man, come on. And he's like, I've had 14 shows in the last 7 days. I was like, oh.
Fair enough.
No, I get it. Yeah, you do your thing, man. Make your money, do your thing, have fun, and then we'll talk in the fall.
But for real. So I was like, we got to hang out a lot that week, and then honestly, like I had a good time with practice at both my bands. So it was a great week of time. But like, because Monday we had practice getting ready for the Green Jello show, and we had a little bit of space in between the other gigs. We didn't practice the week before, so we were having it like we were talking at the beginning of the show. It was just like taking that little bit of time to. Just decompress, come back, and everybody have a couple beers and have fun. Like practice Monday was good, but I do want to round us out with this episode with like the last topic here because I didn't really explain too much to you about it because I wasn't allowed to photograph it. So Tuesday I got the unique offer from like a cool friend of mine. Shout out Sydney if she's listening, but she's someone that I work out with, and had a couple extra tickets to being able to go and see the thing that's called Sasanta, which is Primus, Puscifer, and a Perfect Circle all in a giant weave that share members of each band and also play individual sets, but like it's a crafted experience that's built in acts and intermissions. But like I said, I was slacking because I'm always so busy, and I swear I thought that was at the Baxter Arena here in Omaha in July. So I was like, I'll grab a GA ticket eventually if it doesn't sell out. But then she was like, well, I'm going. I was like, what are you doing this week? She's like, I'm going to fucking Primus on Tuesday. I was like,
fuck.
I screwed up. I know I screwed up. And she's like, you're in luck. I mean, I wasn't going to. If you want to go, I mean, like I have a couple extra tickets because like her dad won a lottery at work. Long story. Doesn't need to be here. But ended up being able to see it at the suite level because her dad won like a work contest for his job. They were like, hey, you can use the suite for the weekend then, man. Bring your whole family. There's 25 seats up there, unlimited, whatever you want to do. And so she was like, I still have like 5 or 6 spots. Like if it's awkward, you don't have to because you don't know me that well. Like we work out together because I taught at a gym. She was like one of my clients. She's like, but it's like if you and your wife want to go, I mean, like we have at least 5, as long as you don't mind hanging out with my family and my weird fucking friends. I was like, I don't care. It's Primus, and I'll sit in the corner and no one can talk to me. That's fine. Right. But like, regardless of all of that, I was like, I'd be stupid not to. And I got super lucky is what I'm trying to say, because I think seeing this at the stage level, like down in the pit would have, because it was a seated experience thing, by the way. They had chairs all the way floor. But of course, a bunch of people end up just standing up and going and starting partying around, and no one really stopped. All the bands kind of encouraged it a little bit too here and there, even though they're the ones that opted for seated experience. And like,
well, then it's easier to control the experience, you know.
And I think that a lot of those show would have been really cool if you're just sitting in front of it with like the giant. It's a perfect circle. A lot of people on the show know exactly kind of. I don't have to explain each one of those bands. Primus is quirky and fucking weird, and it's always a lot of lights and like the disco ball helmet with the giant, like it's always that. But they have a new drummer, and didn't catch his name. They didn't even really mention his name. I think they maybe did once. I don't remember who won the contest or the audition that they had, but this guy was a fucking machine. Absolutely insane. Because at one point, to skip to kind of like the climax of this whole thing, is like I was mentioning, they shared. So Perfect Circle started with like basically no intro, no warning. It was just like they did like a little like 2-minute video that was all silly. just about like, put your phones away. There are no phones. We'll kick you out. And it's really just because we want everybody to connect with us right here, because this is silly. We don't want people that come ahead. We don't want you posting this online, because half of the fun is not knowing what you're getting into with this. And so tell your friends when you're done. We'll let you film one of them. But like, that's Maynard's thing anyways.
Yeah,
and
he always
honestly,
film one.
I enjoyed having it that way.
Yeah.
But they had a Perfect Circle come up and play 4 songs, which was really, really good. Then just like literally just flashed a screen that said Primus. And then they started playing. It was like 20 seconds of changeover. And then Primus played like 4 or 5 songs. And then just same quick flash that said Puscifer. Then they came up and played 4 or 5 songs, all wildly different, and played their own individual sets. Then Primus came back out, but kept Maynard on there with the singer from Puscifer as well, the female singer. And then they did a song with them. And then the drummer from A Perfect Circle stayed and did a song with them. And then just started. I was like, oh, I see why they didn't. I see what's going on here. They're going to mix all these bands together. And like, then they started but like, it was here. This is Puscifer's set, and it's going to be all of their songs, but like Les Claypool singing them now. It just worked really well.
That's pretty cool.
I think there was a couple obvious. I didn't realize. I think it's the bass player for both A Perfect Circle and Puscifer is the same guy. I didn't realize that without gleaning it just from music videos. I wouldn't have put that together without seeing live on stage. But I'll put it this way: they played a bunch of hits. So like, if this tour is coming anywhere near you, and you're like, yeah, but each band's, don't worry about it. Of course, he didn't play every single thing you wanted to hear, but the big 2 or 3 that they played each one, get the band in its own form to play that for you. So you're going to get a legitimate concert hit from each one of them, multiples of them. But then also you're going to get these jams and like extensions of songs, or like I said, like Les Claypool singing a fucking Puscifer song.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that in your head? No.
Right.
But like it worked. The way that it all worked is this was some of the highest crafted showmanship that I've literally ever seen, ever, for anything that I've ever watched. And
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did I tell you I worked a Puscifer show once?
Yeah. And so that's what that was what I was, the one question I really had to ask you was like kind of how, because seeing how this was built, and because I have the same brain as you, I'm just sitting up there like, so how is the fucking, like, you know what I mean? Like,
it was weird because it wasn't like a normal band where it was like, hey, bring in all of our equipment. It was like they had minimal equipment, and a lot of what we were bringing into the Admiral was just like staging. So they had like a lot of different bits of scaffolding. It looked like a Michael Jackson music video. It was like scaffolding that they could kind of like come out to, and then the mics were like on the end of the second floor of the scaffolding, so they'd like lean over it and be on the mic and be all weird. And then one of them was underneath, and then they had like someone up on another one, and it was like pretty much just weird scaffolding with stairs, and like other stuff like that. And we just put that together, and that was pretty much it. And I was like, okay, cool.
Because everything else is they have their own, like, they do it themselves. Like, I'm gonna tech my thing and like set this up myself.
Yeah,
and, like, really,
you just kind of carry all this shit in when I would do stagehand work.
The mannequins and the props and the shit. They Tool, Maynard, any of that is always going to be adjacent to some weird, macabre, offbeat shit.
This was probably a very minimal show for them though, because it was a smaller stage than what they're used to, so they didn't bring too much.
But because they just played an arena with like.
They can bring everything, and it's gonna get weird. It's like Flaming Lips if you've ever seen them live,
dude.
Like they're fucking crazy.
Experience again, like something that's like a very high level of just showmanship, where it feels like obviously there's a lot of money involved that comes with success. That's not how they started, but like as you rise to the occasion of getting more popular, it's just like, dude, if there are bands that could be huge that don't need any of that shit, but like this is part of what makes the music exemplified. Yeah. And on top of that, this is also some of the highest level of this circus that they're fucking putting in front of you, and being able to have the music be that good while also having that level of presentation. Like there was a point where they had, I think technically Puscifer was playing, and it was a song, The Remedy, which is one of my favorite ones of theirs. I think it's probably their biggest hit, but it's also my favorite. And like they I think I've shown it to you before, some with all the luchador masks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they had a ping pong table on the stage with just like the guys from the other members of the band just playing ping pong while they're singing this like very quaint song with like heavy bass and distortion. You know the old people stair lifts, like the fucking.
Oh yeah.
They had those for like to bring the person down to the next thing. They made them sit. If that drummer had to go play, they're like, now sit on the thing and go like 1 mile an hour, just up towards your next like I said, while people are playing ping pong, while people are like riding up and down the stair lifts. They had like a little chaise lounge that they built at the top of the risers behind the drum kits, where everyone in the bands, when they were done, they just sit up there with cocktails and watch the other band while they waited to go back on. So you could just see them like they'd be like, oh, it's my turn. And just like put that down and go get in the drum kit and just be like, then start playing a song that's I'm from this band playing for that band. Like, I'll go. Like, it was the most insane. Like, I don't know how long you'd have to practice and choreograph this to get it that tight. But I know that the tour was announced like last October, so it's probably been about a year in the making, to be honest, of getting this thing, because this is volume like 2.0 of it. Like they've done this one other time a long time ago, but this one was for Maynard's 61st birthday. It was like I'm gonna throw my birthday and do this show for this, and like take it on like a very small tour, because we got them on like a Tuesday night, and I don't know where they went after that. I haven't looked at it actually, but you know, there's a lot more to it, but I know there's plenty of people that listen that might actually want to go see it or should go see it. So like,
don't spoil it all, just a little bit.
I don't want to spoil it all, but like what I've told you is like a third maybe of just to get the job done of what was really happening. But I will say, to wrap it all up, is like that besides the showmanship and being like so tight, I everything that I could tell that I could tell that everything that wasn't exactly like the album was on purpose and like being improvised to do that for that reason. I didn't hear one fuck up, like not one. And I don't think they were tracking anything at all because of how you'd have to perform this together. I wouldn't find a way, because of the organized chaos and how much improvising they were obviously doing, a way to like, unless there was just like, hey, you have this long, so wrap it up here, much like a jazz band. But that doesn't mean that there's probably a click or two for the drummer, but like maybe, like, I think this sounded pretty fucking raw, and everything that was coming out of there, I saw a keyboard player doing it, or someone playing keys and singing, because I had like 3 or 4 of those, or I had the drummer like being able to hit a MIDI pad to start an 808, like everyone was involved with everything, and it was seamless, like a circus, to use that one more time. Like, you don't expect the trapeze person to fall. You think they might, and that's the awe and spectacle of it, but they don't. And that's what makes it outstanding and outside of like human comprehension. That's the way I felt watching this, was like, this is supposed to not work. This is insane. I don't know how this is all so good. And it's just because a group of pure professionals are putting on something for us that they've obviously put every ounce of their creative ability into. And I haven't seen anything like it. And I don't know if I'll ever see anything like it again. And like you said, where in the show, where it's like, I'm kind of jaded when it comes to shows, because a lot of the bands that like I love, I can either find a friend that'll get me in, or I'm playing with them, or they're not in Omaha, or I'm gonna have to like, whatever, I've seen them before, or I've already done it. I got really lucky, and because from my own ignorance of being a dum-dum, and I really don't have much words for how insane it was. Everybody left there just like not even being like, yo, that was, everybody left there being like, I'm gonna go home and go to bed. Like that ends today. There's nothing we're going to do after.
You can't really do anything after that. Like, I love those kind of concerts, man. Those are so great.
Yeah,
that was like when I went to Static X. That's how I felt.
Mind bending, man. And like Static X is one of those bands that puts on a crazy show like that too, where
we have a whole episode about it. Go listen to it, fuckers.
You should
do it.
Well, man, that was our past week in metal. All of that happened in the past week. Can you understand why we had to take an hour to talk about it? Like, fuck, dude, it was
crazy.
A lot of fun. But hey, earlier in the month we went to Terror and Spirit World, and I fucked my ribs up, and I saw Big Dobsbeardbalm.com. He was there, man, in the flesh himself. But he was looking suave. He had, like we mentioned in all of our ads, he's always done like his little beard. He had his beard all coiffed. he's looking suave, man. But we already did
Good
the
guy.
plugs. I'll record another plug and send it to you eventually.
BigDobsBeardBalm.com. Use promo code METAL if you want to be cool
and suave. But we've already done the whole show at the bottom there. Join our Discord, join our Patreon. Check us out on socials. We've already mentioned it throughout there. You know where we're at. And again, thanks to Big Dobbs and thanks to all of you. As we mentioned, we will be back with the next episode. Will be somewhat of a legendary one. It's like another old legend that's coming back and in the making a run. And then we're recording tomorrow with another one that's an up and comer that already has made pretty big waves across like the South and like the Southeast, but they've also been able to play some big festivals. They're hitting tours now. So we've got some legends, some up and comers. We're still going to drag Devin into this once or twice, and we've got an off week with the Game Pod still for you. So YouTube content. Stop asking us for shit. I don't want to see any of you in my DMs.
Have a good night, guys. Keep it metal.